Hey guys, Dan God of Thunder here. This is going to be a video talking a little bit about the guys who are leaving the SPL. And it's not really about them leaving the SPL, and it is more about some of Smite's decisions and what that means. So far, at least 12 people have said they are definitely not going to be in the SPL that were in Season 6. So that's Jeff Hindla, Sinosure, Trixtank, Ataraxia, Emilzy, Deathwalker, Arkle, Emilito, Ice Baby, Funball, Zeros, and Moswell. Jesus, that's a lot of people. And some of them are gone for various reasons, and I'm not going to go into each person's specifics, but all 12 of them had something fell into one of two camps. They were either Americans who didn't make a full season relocation to America, or they were European players who did. And I kind of just want to bring this up because I think that's important that so far as I'm aware, none of the Americans who moved from somewhere else in America to Atlanta are out of the SPL by choice. Some of them were out of the SPL not on their own accord. So I'm not going to go into each person's specifics. But some of the Americans, Sinosure, Moswell, and Jeff Hindla, I know for certain, all traveled from their homes to Atlanta. So if you were wondering why there were a lot of Space Station and Obey sets that were Thursday, Friday, then they'd have a couple weeks off. That's, as far as I can tell, that's why. I've asked some people at High Res, and they haven't quite said no, but when I said that to them, they didn't tell me I was wrong. And it makes a lot of sense to say, hey, we're going to make it so you only have to travel in 6 times and do that. But flying sucks. For those of you who don't know, which I assume is most of you, the people that fly in have to fly into Atlanta Airport, Hartsfield-Jackson. So that's one of the biggest ones in the country. But they have to then drive up, and the drive up is about an hour and 10 minutes. It could be more with traffic. If you have particularly awful traffic, it could be hour and a half, 2 hours. But that's an outlier. I would say hour 10 minutes to get there. An hour and 10 minutes to get up there as your norm is what I would say. I live in the area as well, so I kind of have an idea. Each time you do it, and then you're living out of a hotel, it's draining. Flying a lot is exhausting. And when you're flying a lot, you don't have the ability to practice. Obviously, you can't scrim while in the air. You know, you're not playing Smite on your own while you're in the air. And there is downtime, especially if you're traveling between time zones. It's just something that can't really be done over the long haul. And I think that had a lot to do with why those 3 players are not in the SPL anymore. Whether or not teams wanted them, that's up for debate as well. I'm not here to talk about that. But all the other players, all the European players, and there's a lot of them, they are, they try to make America work. And I think a lot of it was they couldn't. And I don't blame them. It's a very difficult mentality when you go Season 5. Season 5, they're getting the money from their org, which is apparently decent. They're getting a guaranteed salary from High Res, and they're at home. They're at home in an area they're familiar with, in a country they know, a culture they know that they're accustomed to, and only occasionally coming to America. Season 6, the money's still there, but now you're not getting a raise, and they tell you, yeah, you got to come to America. Well, shit. Yeah, they paid for the house, which is great and all, but most of these folks weren't, buying their own house, and even if you were, if you have your own, if you have a place, you can't just move back in. So there's if you had a house, you kind of had to keep the house that you have in Europe or wherever you're from. If you're living at home, that doesn't really help you because you're still living at home to get a free house in Atlanta. So these players then have to go and relocate for the same pay effectively to America. And I'm American, I like being in America. But if you told me, hey, you have to go to Europe, nothing personal, Europe, but if you told me, like, I'm going to get the same salary, I'll pass. Maybe I'm going to start hunting the job market. Maybe I'm going to look to see, well, what can I do elsewhere? Now season 7 comes around, and these pros, from what we understand, aren't getting the same money. They're being forced effectively to take a pay cut to now uproot again to come back to America. It doesn't shock me a lot of these players are just saying, hey, I'm 20, I'm 22, I'm 23, I'm 25. Maybe it's time to go on to the next phase of my life. And I think that's something that's hard for a lot of people to understand. I had to uproot from Arizona to Atlanta. And there's a lot of things that, even though I thought I had a pretty good understanding of what I was doing at the time, there's a lot of things that didn't come up until I actually moved. Cost of living is different. If you're moving between places in America, the rent market's different. Like I was paying about 2/3 of what I do for an apartment in Arizona. Auto insurance varies wildly from state to state. Arizona's was half of what Georgia's was. My auto insurance doubled. And now imagine all of these things along with a new culture. Maybe it's cheaper for you depending on where you're from. A lot of these countries that these European players are coming from have nationalized medicine, nationalized healthcare. That's not a thing here. So they have to, deal with that level of uncertainty. The political climate's different. All of those things. It's hard. Now, I understand why Hi-Rez did what they did. Having a LAN environment, being able to talk to the players, they didn't really leverage this properly, but being able to make content with players, being able to associate with them and talk to them a whole lot more than they used to, is a good look for the league. That is something that is very good. But it comes at a cost. Telling everyone to relocate means that some players just can't do it. And some players thought maybe they could. And it's hard. So, let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Turn the bell on for notifications. I think it's like, on my channel, it's like something like 90% of people that watch my videos are not subscribed. I am looking to push towards being able to monetize content. Again, if you're seeing advertisements on here, YouTube gets all of that revenue. I don't get any of that at the moment, and it would be super appreciated if you would hit the button and watch some of the other content. Thank you. Take care. Catch you all later.